I stood in the bathroom doorway wrapped in nothing but steam and embarrassment. The towel I'd forgotten sat folded on my bed just 15 feet away, but it might as well have been a mile. My father Richard was in the living room watching his evening news program. I could hear the familiar voice of the anchor discussing the weather forecast for the week. At 58 years old I thought I'd grown past the awkwardness of these small domestic mishaps. My name is Dorothy and I'd moved back home 6 months ago after my divorce. The house where I'd grown up suddenly became my refuge again. Dad never asked questions. He just helped me carry boxes up to my old bedroom and said welcome home sweetheart. Living with my father again had been an adjustment for both of us. He was 79 now. His hair had gone completely silver and he moved a little slower than he remembered. But his eyes still had that gentle kindness that had comforted me through scraped knees and broken hearts and everything in between. I called out from the bathroom, hoping my voice sounded casual. Dad, could you bring me a towel please? I forgot to grab one. There was a pause in the living room. I heard the creak of his recliner as he stood up. His footsteps moved down the hallway steady and unhurried. He knocked softly on the doorframe even though the door was already open a crack. Towel delivery, he said with a hint of amusement in his voice. He reached around the corner without looking, his arm extending through the doorway with a large blue towel. The same blue towels Mom had bought years ago that had somehow survived decades of washing. Thank you, I said, taking the towel quickly. I felt my cheeks flush with a warm MTH that had nothing to do with the hot shower. You know, his voice came from the other side of the wall. You used to do this when you were 7 years old. You'd forget your towel at least twice a week. Your mother and I used to joke that you'd forget your head if it wasn't attached. I wrapped the towel around myself and smiled at the memory. Some things never change, I guess. No, they don't, he said. And that's not always a bad thing. I heard him walk back toward the living room, but then he paused. Dorothy, said, his voice softer now. I'm glad you're here. I know this wasn't how you planned your life to go, but I want you to know this house has felt like a home again since you came back. My throat tightened. Daddy started, but I didn't know what to say. Take your time getting dressed, he said. Dinner will be ready in about 20 minutes. I'm making that pot roast you always liked. After I got dressed, I found him in the kitchen. He stood at the stove stirring gravy in a small pan. The kitchen smelled like my childhood, like Sunday dinners and holidays and ordinary Tuesdays that had somehow become precious in memory. I sat at the kitchen table and watched him cook. I'd learned to do this after Mom passed away 5 years ago. Before that, I'd barely known how to work the coffee maker. But grief had taught him many things, including how to take care of himself. I'd learned that feeding yourself was an act of love. That continuing to live fully was the best way to honor someone's memory. You've gotten really good at this, he said. ASH rugged. Had to learn. Couldn't live on frozen dinners forever. Besides, your mother left me all her recipes. Sometimes I feel like she's teaching me through those cards she wrote. Her handwriting is on every one. He pulled the pot roast from the oven and the steam rose up around his face. For a moment he looked younger. Or maybe I just saw him the way he used to when I was a child and seemed invincible. We ate dinner together at the small kitchen table. The television stayed off. We'd fallen into this routine over the past months. Dinner was our time to really talk about our days and our thoughts, and sometimes about nothing at all. I've been thinking, he said, cutting into a piece of carrot. I need to figure out what comes next. I can't live here forever. Why not, he asked. I mean, eventually sure you'll want your own place. But there's no rush, Dorothy. Life doesn't follow a schedule. You learn that as you get older. I thought I had it all figured out, he said. Marriage, career, the whole picture. And then it just fell apart. He set down his fork and looked at me with those kind eyes. Life has a way of doing that, he said. Your mother and I, we had our struggles too. Things you never knew about because we didn't burden you kids with them. But we learned that falling apart is sometimes how we learn to put ourselves back together differently. Stronger maybe, or at least more honest. Do you ever get lonely? He asked. Living here by yourself before he came back. Sometimes, he admitted, but lonely isn't the worst thing in the world. It teaches you to be comfortable with yourself. And it makes you appreciate the company when it comes. Like now having you here, it's a gift, Dorothy. Don't think you're a burden. You're my daughter. This is your home for as long as you need it. We finished dinner in comfortable silence. He told me about his day at the senior center where he volunteered teaching woodworking to other retirees. He told him about the job applications I'd been sending out. Small conversations that wove our lives together. Later that evening as he got ready for bed he thought about the towel. Such a small thing really. A forgotten towel. But it had become a moment of connection. A reminder that even in our embarrassments and imperfections we are loved. That family isn't about perfection, it's about showing up. About reaching around doorways with towels when needed. About pot roast and patience and understanding that life rarely goes according to plan. He knocked on his bedroom door before he turned in for the night. He looked up from the book he was reading. Thanks, Dad, he said, for everything. Not just the towel but everything. Smiled. That's what fathers are for. Towel delivery and pot roast. And reminding you that you're going to be just fine. As he walked back to my room he realized he was right. I was going to be fine. Maybe not today or tomorrow but eventually. And in the meantime I had this house and this man who'd raised me. Who taught me that kindness was the most important thing. That love wasn't always grand gestures but small ones. A towel when you need it. A warm meal. A listening ear. Some people spend their whole lives looking for home. I've been lucky enough to find mine twice. Once as a child and now again as a woman learning to start over. The walls held the same memories. The kitchen still smelled like comfort. And my father was still here steady and kind, offering grace for every forgotten towel and every dream that didn't quite work out the way I'd planned. That night I fell asleep in my childhood bed, grateful for second chances and for fathers who know that love means showing up even for the small awkward moments that make us human.